Blah! Hey everybody, this is Alchemisted, and this is Onimusha Warlords! Friggin' finally! And yeah, if the voice acting is really quiet on your end, that's because it is. In fact, let me go ahead and adjust the volume. I tried adjusting the volume way higher than I had planned on playing it with, but yeah. That it's it's super quiet. Okay, so English subtitles are on, display is on, sound sync stereo A. I think we'll just switch it to mono. It won't be rendered out as mono because it's getting recorded in stereo, but hopefully mono will make the sound a little. Hopefully it'll make it pop a little bit more. I think we can turn the music a little down and the sound effects a little up because the music seemed like it was drowning out a lot. Vibrations on. Let's see, screen adjust. Controls. Oh, this is the biggest problem I have with this game. I can remember having trouble with the melee controls, at first at least. It's basically it's Resident Evil style tank controls with melee weapons, and it's kind of weird. I know a lot of knife players in Resident Evil are going like, "You're just a baby," and yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, you get more than knives in this game. You get swords, staves. They all have their own sort of quirks and animations, and half the game is really figuring out how to exploit these. In fact, there is an exploit in this game that was so fun to use that they actually made it a mechanic in Devil May Cry. And I'll talk more about that as we go along. And there's a lot to talk about, too. There's the main character who... I don't have my notes on me. I took notes, but they've been lost in the chaos here. Probably in set 2 I'll go more. I'll let set 1 sort of like settle us into the world of Onimusha, and then like in set 2 I'll start going into like the various inspirations for, say, the lead character Samanosuke and what have you. But yeah, it's actually the story of how Onimusha came to be is actually quite interesting, and I'll talk about a little of it right here while I sort of get myself ready, get myself a drink. Drink some glorious nectar, caffeine, before we begin. So, Onimusha, and this is sort of a theme. This is kind of a running theme that I want to have over the course of this year, is games that were going to be RE4 but weren't. There are 3 games Capcom made that were at one point a build for RE4. There was... Onimusha got released first. I think Onimusha got released fairly early in the PS2's lifespan, I think. There was Onimusha, and after Onimusha there was Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry was also a build for RE4, but they were veering too far away from like Resident Evil and too much into like supernatural shit. So they decided to make Devil May Cry its own thing. And then the third and last version was Haunting Ground. In fact, there's sort of like a nod to Haunting Ground early on in Resident Evil 4. I think it's the same model, actually, as in Haunting Ground, is the white dog you see in like a bear trap. I think, what was the name in Haunting? Huey? I think that was his name. He's a major character in Haunting Ground. I think it's a he, she, or it. But that dog is a major character in Haunting Ground and actually decides what ending you get, if I remember correctly. Pretty important detail of that game. So, and again, Haunting Ground is another sort of rejected version of RE4. And I find that development so fascinating because that is like the development of RE4 and everything that came out of it, like Devil May Cry, Onimusha, you know, everybody knows what these games are. They were like $1 million franchises, multi-million dollar franchises, made Capcom amazing amounts of bank. And they were failures. They started life as failed builds for a game, as rejected builds for a game. this game, Resident Evil 4's development was so lengthy and so costly that there's just multiple like thrown builds where they just scrapped everything and threw it out. And like nowadays, development budgets are so bloated and development staffs are so huge, and you know the AAA games industry wants a sequel pumped out a year. It's the current climate of the major developers, including Capcom nowadays. This game would never have existed. Onimusha, Devil May Cry, Hunting Ground even would never have existed. Resident Evil 4 would have just gotten canceled. They'd have just gone like, no. After like the first failed test build, really. Like, can you imagine if they developed Resident Evil 4 today, like how much you would not have? I mean, there was 2 good Devil May Cry games in there, out of the 5 that were released. Devil May Cry 4 wasn't bad, it was okay. 2 was a goddamn mess. And the less we talk about DMC, the better. Okay? We start talking about DMC, I'm going to hear Imveculus is screaming from here, and I might be tempted to join him. So let's not talk about that one. Okay? I don't have as much bile for it as Imveculus does, but you will hear him rage screaming from his place once you, he'll know. He has supernatural abilities, much like the ones in this game. Let's see. We should be good. Alright, let me check one thing. Okay. Just wanted to check that we were getting... And there's a little crack-a-lacka. There's some crackling in the background. That should go away eventually. I don't know what's causing that. Might be my sound card. Technical failure is always an option here, and now my sound card needs to be replaced, but it's a Rocketfish sound card that cost me $8. So, if anything could possibly, potentially fail, I'm glad that it's the thing that only cost $8 to replace this time, as opposed to the over $800 I have spent building this new PC because my old one died. No, Onimusha, we've seen that. We're moving on. New game. Very atmospheric, this game. I remember really liking the atmosphere it went for. The lip syncing, not so much. You got a nice preview of the lip syncing in that sizzle reel at the beginning. Oh, yes. It's not very good. Remember, this is coming off of like the PS2 reel. Not the PS2, but coming off of like the PS1, where things like matching lip flaps to like localization were not necessarily a priority. This was sort of that gray area when games were transitioning from being really video gamey on the PlayStation to being more cinematic. Cinematically produced, I should say. Or at least they were more attention was being paid to giving games the trappings of cinema. And like lip flaps were one of the minutiae that people were starting to pay attention to. This is from that gray area where people really, unless it was like extremely high budget game, which this definitely wasn't. Like I said, this is the runoff from the development of Resident Evil 4. Unless it was a really high budget game where they had the time and the money to pay attention to that, they really didn't. Ew. What am I looking at? Is that a bug? Oh, oh. Yeah. Shadowboxing mantis. Oh, that's what it was. Resident Evil. Aw.
Men, fight and die with honor.
Sup?
Nobunaga has finally engaged the enemy.
My lord, we have taken Lord Suruga's head!
KO! Because he said perfect, is it? Never mind. Yeah, took on that entire army by myself, yep. Suddenly, ninjas! I should stop talking and being a douche.
I will save Princess Yuki.
That explained nothing. That was... That made sense at the beginning, and then it just turned into like the intro to Final Fantasy 12.
Dear Samnosuke,
Dun dun
I
dun
am
dun
writing
dun
this
dun
letter
dun
in the
dun
hopes you
dun
will
dun
read this
dun
in time to
dun
help.
dun dun dun.
Something is wrong within the Inabayama castle. Some of the maids and servants have gone missing. and I fear that it might be the work of monsters.
What makes you...
I am so scared, Samanosuke. People tell me that the monsters eat the maids and servants and then take their remains to someplace deep underground. When I told my brother Yoshitatsu about this, he did not seem interested. He is too busy preparing for his upcoming battle with Nobunaga. Samanosuke, although it has been a few years since we were forced to take separate paths, due to the battle between my father Dosan and my brother Yoshitatsu, you are still the only one that I can rely upon. I can only hope that you receive this letter and that you will find it in your heart to come and save me before it is too late. Yours faithfully, Yuki.
So I'm not sure if Samanosuke actually serves a lord or if he's a ronin. He might be a ronin. Or am I confusing him with Jubei? I think Samanosuke might serve a lord, at least in Onimusha 1, and I think Jubei was a ronin in Onimusha 2.
This way, sir. If our princess is at the keep, there are two ways to get there. The western path, or the northern passage.
Kaede, I'll go north. You follow them through the other way.
Understand.
Oh god, the tank controls. Yes. They're so terrible, but at the same time, it's so nice to be playing with tank controls again. Does he sheath it? Okay, that's your block. Blocking is... It's very much like Revengeance. Although you actually have a block button, so I guess it's nothing like Revengeance. Forget about Revengeance. But blocking is very critical to, like, you have, like, timing and, like, blocking and attacking and what have you is very, very... It's a lot more nuanced than, say... You got, like, a sidestep, you got a dodge button. It's much more nuanced. You can kind of quick tap it if you want to. You got, like... It's much more nuanced and much more flexible battle system than you got with Resident Evil. And it actually feels... It's not bad, actually. No analog support. Although the analog stick does bring up the map, which is kind of weird. Let's see, controls. Is there an analog? Just to see. Used, not used. Guard. R3 button. Map. That's it. No control remapping here. Directional button. I like that, like, you can quit the game if you want from the menu. Although no save, because this was not yet. This was not a time on consoles. Maybe you could, maybe in Deus Ex, but I think even that came later. What you got to say? Sir, please save Princess Yuki. Alright, I'll go this way. You should not waste your time on this. Let Kaede check this trail instead. Well, I didn't know! Yeah, there is no walk. Samanosuke only runs. Okay, here's your combat tutorial. Princess Yuki! wants some? Who wants some? Who wants to come get a piece? Who wants a piece of this shit? Come on! Motherfucker!
Princess Yuki, Your Highness.
Samanosuke,
No way.
it's really you. Oh, I knew that you would come to save me.
Roll credits!
I have missed you so much since you left the castle.
Flee while you can, you worthless bug.
Yeah, you're not doing much against... Yeah. Oh. Why do I feel like this is gonna be a thing throughout this game? Oh. Princess Yuki! Oh. Should call her Princess Peach.
Samanosuke. Wake up, Samanosuke.
Good morning, Chrono. Oh, time to be a superhero, Samanosuke.
With your current power, you are not capable of destroying demons. We will give you our powers.
The plan of ogres that has been subverted by the demons. Samanosuke, defeat and seal their souls to your right hand.
Thank you, Zordon. Can do.
Destroy all the demons.
Souls.
So, fortune has smiled upon me this day. The power of this gauntlet. I will destroy all of those monsters and save the princess.
Who is in another castle? I got the instructions. I'm so glad the ogres were kind enough to bestow me with a fucking manual for this shit. Let's see. Hold the circle button to absorb the souls that emerge after defeating the demons. Red enhances the power of the orbs. Enhances your orbs. Red is good. Blue recovers the magic power. Yellow recovers vitality. I think it's usually green, but okay. Magic attack. Press the triangle button to attack with a magic spell while you have an orb equipped to your gauntlet. Every time you use the magic spell, some of your magic power will be consumed. Yes, I know how mana works. Enhance your orbs and items by the red souls you have absorbed. Look into a magic mirror and choose Enhance. Enhance to enter the enhancement screen. Hold the X button and your sword and magic spell will get injected with souls and be enhanced. One item will be enhanced every time you press the X button. Okay. So basically it's much like that way they handled it like Devil May Cry, where like all the red orbs it's literally the exact same upgrade mechanic from Devil May Cry, where you like spend red orbs to buy new techniques and such. Basically, is that it's just like that. So a nice thing is you can like. A nice thing is there is like a quick backstep, so you can get yourself out of trouble. You don't have to like use L1 to like dash. Although this is how I will get around from here on. No, I'm not going to do that. Tempting as it is.